Anywho, thank you guys. I started the recording, so because we have the most amazing speaker this evening. Actually, she's just going to kind of talk us through a conversation about being brave and what that has meant to her. Stephanie Fluharty has gone through the Brave Leaders program this past summer. And if you didn't see her on stage at conference, she was absolutely beautiful and amazing and such an inspiration to all of us. And it was so much fun to have somebody from our own team up there on the stage really sharing from her heart how being brave has impacted her own life, her family's life, the people around her, and I'm just super excited that she gets to share with us tonight. So I'm just going to pass it over to the amazing Stephanie Fluharty.
Thank you. You're way too kind. I told Mel, I was like, I'm not a lecturer, so I'm really just going to talk and open it up for discussion and just share kind of a story, you know, and kind of where I'm at daily with my brave acts. And for those of you that weren't at conference, basically I did a 3-minute on stage. You know, I was helping advertise the Brave Leaders program, and she asked, Karen Jones had asked me to speak. And so I had just gone up and explained how empowering that program has been for me and how humbling it is. And really, basically, it teaches you to be a leader out of a really scary place, out of vulnerability, out of letting go of perfectionism, embracing failure, embracing just, you know, getting over yourself and not being so afraid of judgment and what other people think. And so I found it really exciting at first, and then I found it really challenging and emotionally draining because I just took it to heart. I applied being brave to everything. I applied it to myself physically, and I realized how there are so many different ways and places in my life that I'm not brave, but I'm brave in many other places. And so I've kind of filled in those holes, and I realized, like, physically I'm not very brave. I'm not I work out, but I never put myself in a situation where I could play a team sport. I was like, yeah, no, there's no way. I didn't even do like cornhole. Like, I'm afraid of cornhole. Like, it's so sad. And so just noticing those things about me and figuring out why and what that means and how to get over that. And it was, have used a lot of my lessons at my other job, and really it just slowly changes your life. It slowly makes you realize that really nothing, like, we're just human. It really doesn't matter so much what faults we have. It doesn't matter. In fact, it's more attractive. And when we were talking about vulnerability, it reminded me of when I teach my actors. I direct and teach theater, and I'm always like, you can't be pretty if you're crying. You got to have an ugly cry so we can relate to you and we can feel like, yeah, I know you. And it's the same thing in just life and as any part of business and any, you know, as a teacher. It's like if you're perfect, if you're flawless, people don't really relate to you. And so I started to look at my obsession with perfectionism and being terrified of letting people down or letting myself down as a flaw. And it's really transformed the way that I approach everything. And now I have found myself, instead of having those feelings, like, I don't know if Mel and I talk a lot about this. I don't know if it's the dormant Catholic in me, that those thoughts of who do you think you are, that's going away. But that was always kind of in the back of my head. Like, why would you even think to do that? Who do you think you are? You know? And I've also stopped thinking that about others. And we all have heard the whole, the cliche judge, I can't think of it. I'm terrible at cliches, but judge not lest we be judged ourselves. And I have found that by giving other people more of a benefit of the doubt, that I am more brave, because I'm like, hey, we're all human. We all have faults. And so that's just been a really interesting journey. And then, one of my brave acts this summer was when I went to the Philly Summit. I wanted to introduce myself to everybody that spoke at the summit. And the first thing I did, which is really funny and hilarious and embarrassing, but in Phoenix, it was Ricky Prohl spoke, and I was like so excited, and I wanted to meet him so badly because I had all these athletes that that were my former students that I'm really close to. And I'm like, oh my God, if they hear from Ricky Prohl, they're going to totally be on board with this. And then I saw these friends of mine and these former students and showed them his video, and they loved it. And I was so excited because I saw him at the Philly Summit. I was like, okay, this is it. And it was like, I just walked in the hotel and there he was. And I ran up to him. I'm like, oh my God, hi, it's so nice to meet you. And he's like, sorry, and I was like, you're the football player, right? Like Ricky Prohl? And he goes, no. And he's like, do you think that all bald people look the same? And I was like, no. And I was so embarrassed. And I was like, oh my God. So that was my first failure, and I lived. And then I followed up by introducing myself to everybody else at the conference or the summit. And, there were some awkward moments where I was like, hi. And, they just look at me like, do you have something to say? And sometimes I did, and sometimes I didn't. But then when I saw Karen Jones, I was like, I know exactly what I can say to her. And so I told her how much I've loved the program and all the work she's put into it. I just wanted to thank her for it, and just the vision behind it, I just thought was brilliant. Because those moments that we want to quit, it's this program that really makes you just go, get over yourself, or, give everyone else the benefit of the doubt. Maybe this is happening. Just what if, and so I went up and thanked her. And then that led to her calling me and asking me to speak at Tampa. And it's literally the biggest fear I have is speaking in public. I'm like, are you kidding me? Really? Like, and I couldn't say no, like that would be dumb. So, I was freaked out for 6 weeks straight. But then I did it. I mean, I was like nearly hyperventilating backstage. You all saw me, before. I was a mess, but I did it. And I kid you not, it changed my life a little bit. Like it really did. It just, I felt like I left Tampa standing taller. That if I could do that, like, what if? Like, what else? And I'd always wanted to be a performer and always wanted to act and sing and be on stage. And I had a little of that. I wasn't, and it was like, it was from a very personal place. It was from me, which is even kind of more exciting. It was my thoughts. It wasn't like a cover of a song or somebody's words that I'm, portraying as an actor. And I still got my hair and makeup done, and that was really amazing. I had no idea they were going to do that. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I just felt super special. And I haven't felt super special, like forever. Like it was life-changing. And I just had a bad exchange with a colleague at work, and he treated me really horribly. And I was like, you know what? No, not me. You're not doing that to me. There would be times where I would just shy away from the confrontation, that I would miss, I wouldn't trust myself. But I have practiced being brave so often that I'm like, So what if I say the wrong thing? Who cares? I speak from my heart. And I don't ever try to speak out of anger or anything, but I really stood up for myself. So it's just led to a lot of other brave acts. And then, a really interesting one is I have, being in theater, everyone always is like, I can't believe you never dress up for Halloween. And, I dressed up for Halloween for the first time since I was 12 this year. And I had the best time ever. I just wore a blonde wig, and none of my students knew who I was. They all thought that I had a sub that day. And my own daughter came up to me. She didn't know I was dressing up. And she's like, hi, do you know where my mom is? And I was like, right here. And I just had so much fun, and I got a lot of attention. And I've always kind of shied away from that. Like, who do you think you're at? Why would you want to get attention? Like, and now I was like, who cares if I get attention? And I was always really afraid to, I was always a jealous of people that were super confident in public, like at parties or whatever, like the boys just laugh. I'd be like, God, if I did that, I would just like, God, I would feel so nervous, And so I'm just starting to come into my own and feel more confident. And it's just a ripple effect. And then I find myself teaching it to my students and to, my kids. And one of my students was terrified to do a monologue the other day. And I was like, okay, so you know what happens when you're scared and you're nervous? You just prepare. And you prepare and you prepare and you read it out loud and you make it through once and you're like, yay, I succeeded. And then you do it like 40 other times and then you succeeded 4 other times. And all of a sudden you have confidence that you're gonna be okay. You're gonna succeed. You're gonna be, and if you don't, it's not like you didn't try and you did your best. So, it's just, that's how I feel like all these brave acts that I have done, whether it's, showing up at a new gym, showing up in a new type of group fitness class, all of those are little baby successes. And there's a bunch of little failures too, like my Ricky Perel story. But, and then my daughter the other day was at a field hockey game and she played her heart out. She did really well and they went to states and she got in the car and she's like, oh, I'm so mad. I had 2 shots on goal and I missed. And I said, yeah, but the person who scored 3 points, she missed 7, and I'm like, you got to miss in order to get the goal. So it's like, I'm able to apply the whole concept of vulnerability, getting in the ring, making those failures just to my everyday life. And they're so tangible. I mean, Brene Brown is brilliant. And again, one of my favorite things, she talks about is the Teddy Roosevelt quote, and I'm not going to quote it exactly, but basically he said, you have to give credit to the person who is in the ring and who's fighting and who's getting themselves out there and being brave. And it's not about the people on the sidelines who are, looking at you and judging you. And Brene loved that quote. And she kind of went a second step and was like, so I really don't care what they tell me. And so I have a lot of people's voices in my head. Like, who does she think she is? And, before a situation presents itself, I'm already thinking what 5 people are going to think of me. And that's prevented me from doing things. And now I'm just like, they're not doing what I'm doing. So really, who cares? They don't understand where I'm coming from. And I know where I'm coming from has value, and is grounded in a mission that I believe in. And if they want to get on that same page and then have a discussion with me, I'm open to it. But if not, oh well. And so that's really, really helped me with that icky salesman feel, those moments where I feel like people aren't with me and maybe not talking great about me or the product. And I'm like, well, if you want to get in the ring and try, I'm happy to hear what you have to say. But if not, no, thank you. And there's just a confidence in that I've been able to find. I hope I can hold on to it. But I think in practicing it with my students and my kids, it'll help me. And I'm really super slammed right now at my other job, but I do feel so primed when I have the time in like 2 weeks that I'm just going to go after. I'm going to go after everything that I want with this business, and with the confidence that, you know what, so what if? And I wrote an email to Karen Jones thanking her for the opportunity. She's a very smart woman, as we all know. But, you know, when she asked me to do it, and she's like, you know, people that I asked to be on the stage end up becoming an NMD. And I was like, oh, okay, well, whatever. Well, after I had that experience, I knew why. It wasn't because I was the right person for her to choose. It was a fluke that she chose me. I just went up to her. It's because of the experience that I had. And I'm like, well, if I can do that, then I can do this. And so it made so much sense. And then, you know, she just emailed me back and just said, you know, trust your instincts. You've got good ones, and you have a voice. And I was like, oh, I have a voice? Like, what if I have a voice? And what if I'm hiding it? That's not cool. And I would never want that for my children. I would never want that for my students. And so if nothing else, I have to set a good example for them. So that's my brave journey. And I really want to hear what you all have to say in areas that you feel like you need to be more brave. And, you know, especially in the business, where those are. And, I'd love to just talk about that. And I know Jenna and Sandra, or is it Jamie? Are you all doing no, Sandra did the Brave Leaders, but Jenna, you're going to do it, right? Anyway, so if you have any questions about the program itself too, I just wanted to open it up for discussion.
Hi, it's Patty and Stephanie. First of all, you did a great job in Tampa, and you've done an amazing job here this evening. So thank you for sharing your heart and your emotions. And it just was, you know, you do have a voice. You have a wonderful voice. So
thank you. Thank you.
I actually am going to be in the Brave Leaders as well, coming in January.
Awesome.
So I'm really excited about that. And so how has it helped you move your Juice Plus business forward, would you say?
It hasn't. It's helped me. And I feel like I had to kind of stop what I was doing in order to grow first. And I feel the same way with Teamsy. I'm like, I can't do anything until I get everything set up because I want to do it like that. So it's like, it was such a big jump for me that, you know, yeah, I call people up and I've been brave, you know, with prospects, but I never had a problem with that. My problem was more of the follow-up, and if something went wrong, I felt like it was my fault or a reflection of me. And so I'm still kind of processing that, but I do feel like I just feel more confident, and I feel like I have a better foundation to stand on when I have those uncomfortable moments, and I'm not going to let them pull me down under anymore. Where I used to feel like, yeah, I would have really big ups and then really big downs. And now I feel like I've got foundation because I believe in what I'm doing, and that's all that really matters. No one else is in the ring. So, or the people that are, you know, if they're not in the ring, if you're not consistent with Juice Plus, you can't say that it doesn't work. You know, and it's just kind of like that. It's like, okay, that's fine, but you can't say it doesn't work because you haven't really tried it. So it's that concept and that confidence that I think I was missing. And I know it's going to propel me forward. I need time to do it. So.
Thank you. And you will.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Steph, I have a question. If no, so what did a brave act look like in the beginning to what it looks like now? I mean, like, were you starting big, or were they just little tiny things that you could do? I mean, because let's say somebody hasn't been in the Brave Leaders program yet and isn't going to be in it for a little while because we're starting to put everybody through. But if you have the opportunity to fast track to SC, do it, because you automatically get straight into the program. So that's a huge benefit. But let's say somebody isn't like right on the track to be like knocking on the door of being in that program. What would you suggest that they could do while they're waiting, and what would those brave acts kind of look like?
Well, it's so funny because I'm one of those people that I never read the fine lines. I never kind of look at the table of contents or an itinerary if I'm going on a trip. I look at the label and I'm like, okay, that sounds great. And you had mentioned the Brave Leaders. I was like, okay, I got to be brave. I'm going to start now. And so I started being brave like 3 weeks before, just knowing that I think that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I was just brave. And then like I said, the physical act, I know that sounds so weird, but when you are physically strong, you're mentally strong. And I think there's a huge connection. I mean, we all know when we feel healthy inside, we feel happy inside. And I think there's a strength that you get physically that really brings about this confidence as well. And so I would just say, prepare your body and prepare your mind to be brave, and just commit to being honest with yourself. Like, okay, am I really doing my best? Like, really? Or am I shying away from this because I'm scared of what someone thinks of me? Because that's my biggest thing. What do people think of me? I've built my reputation. I don't want to ruin it all in one conversation about Juice Plus. I mean, that I have felt that so often, like, I can't ruin this relationship. And that's true. I don't want to do that. But I also feel like, you know what? They're going to forgive me if they matter, if I say something stupid. And so I would just say practice being brave with yourself and honest with yourself and strong physically.
That's beautiful. Thank you. We have time maybe for one more question. Anybody want to ask her why she's here? We're all good. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much. You are absolutely beautiful and amazing. And it's just really fun to watch people kind of grow and blossom. I mean, you've been an amazing rock star with Juice Plus from the second that you started. And so I love your honesty of, like, you weren't really struggling with sharing Juice Plus with people because you knew what it had done for you and you loved it, and you wanted the people that you loved and cared about to know about it. And so it really wasn't the struggle. So I love that you totally embrace this for you, your whole life, your whole family, and it just is really, really cool to see what's happened with you. So thank you so much for sharing your heart with us tonight. It's been absolutely amazing.
Well, thank you for having me, and it was an honor to be asked. So thank you.
Awesome. Great job. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Ellen, do you want to say anything? What do we have next week?
No, great job. I mean, that was such a good call and such great insight into Brave Leaders. I'm so proud of the program, and I think you guys got really some special insight. And you'll remember this call when you see her on the stage giving her NND speech. So you'll remember this, okay? And thanks, everybody. You guys are just the best.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Everybody vote.
Yes.
That's right.
Please.
Get out there. Make a difference.
And 3 foot, you can 3 foot when you're done with your
voting.
Open, make a new friend.